This is the Secrets of Slot Car Racing number 4. Wanted to talk about track, and I'll start off by saying if you are a beginner or a returnee to the hobby, I recommend this AFX Super International 4-lane racing set. It's been made for a long time. It has enough contents for you to get a really good first experience of the slot car hobby. And a lot of sets, they just don't have enough content, specifically enough straight track. So what I like to see with a slot car track for beginners is I want a simple track. An oval is what the example I used in Slot Car Racing Secrets number 1. I also want a track that's flat, so there's no overpasses or anything that would obstruct the view of our new racers. And I like a long skinny track. You can put it on a table. Like I set up this set on an 8 by 2.5 foot banquet table. It all fits. The one thing I added here from the oval we had earlier are these chicane sections. They're nice pieces of track. I don't really recommend them for a beginner, mostly because of the cost. They're great pieces of track. They come in a package like this. I bought these quite a while ago. They're $24, and you got to buy 2 of them to do what I did here. So it's just, you're probably going to spend hopefully less than $350 on a set. I don't want to add another $50 expense, but you can take some of the track pieces you didn't use in the oval, make an S section like that, put it in the track, kind of do something similar in I like a narrow track. Again, you can put it up against the wall. You can still reach all the cars. You can probably go up to 4 feet wide and still have access to the cars and keep it up against the wall. If not, you just end up using a lot more floor space with a wider track. So what I really want our novices to experience is, going around a curve, modulating the speed as fast as they can, going onto a long straight, being able to go full throttle, and then race into a tight turn. So that's what I'm really looking for beginners. A really long straight, or as long as possible, into a tight turn. So they get to experience what it's like going down the straight, either side by side, either ahead, or trying to catch up with someone, and really trying to outbrake them into that tight turn. That's really the essence of slot car racing that I want them to experience. And like I say, all the contents to do that are in the set. I like a 4-lane set because if you get 4 people racing, it's a lot of fun. I understand a lot of people don't have 4 racers or even 4 beginners to do it with. Maybe a 2-lane track suits you better. That's up to you to decide, but I like the 4-lane track. It's just the more people you get involved, it becomes a lot more fun. As far as track brands, right now what's available are Auto World sets and AFX. And Auto World pretty much copied, I'm not sure what sort of agreement the 2 companies came up with, but the 2 tracks do link up together, so you can use them together. I've never done it, mixed those brands, so I don't know how successful, but they do link up. They're similar enough. And most people recommend getting one of these sets because of the selection of track. The AFX track has been available since the mid-'80s, and really the basis of it goes back before that with Aurora. Tommy bought Aurora and AFX brand names and licensing. They spent a lot of time retooling the track, and it really hasn't been changed since then. So it's been out for a while. And there's a big selection of track. There's banked curves, I think in at least 2 sizes. There's actually separate pieces of track. There's 5 different radiuses, and there's actually a smaller hairpin turn. So big selection of track to make any kind of track you could imagine. The genesis for this track goes back to Aurora, and actually before that in the late 50s, Playcraft Highways. And it went through one big permutation in the 70s where they started using AFX track. And there's been some adapters made where you can go the current AFX to the 70s. Remember the 70s track, if you're familiar with it, A lot of the pieces, the little tab breaks off there. And these conversion pieces are getting more and more difficult to find. If you notice, this old track piece is rusty. That's not unusual with some of this old track. So if you're have a bunch of old track, or you find a lot at a garage sale, yes, you can use it, but you might get into pieces where they're broken, corroded. It might be a lot of aggravation, and it might be worth it too. But just my general suggestion is, with used track, it's not necessarily going to save you any money, and I know that's the whole point. And here's the original Aurora track. People pretty familiar with it. The two steel pins, and then there's a little U-shaped connector that holds the track pieces together. They must have made billions of miles of that. There's a lot of people that still use it, and the people that are using it, everyone's looking for the same pieces, everything but a 9-inch curve. And this is a standard 9-inch curve. And if you're buying used track, the 9-inch curve is like the triples of the slot car world. It's just, everyone seems to have hundreds of them. What you want to look for is a lot of straight, number one, and then any curves except 9-inch straights. I've thrown out a lot of 9-inch curves because just everyone has a lot of them. So the other track that's pretty prevalent is the Tyco track. They were bought out by Mattel. Some of them might be branded Mattel, and I think they changed the mold a little bit so it looks slightly different, but the tracks do hook up together. Be careful with Tyco track, because the older Tyco track, called Speedway, connects different, and again, you'd need a conversion piece. But the important thing is, fairly recently, is Auto World has made this AFX to the current Tyco Mattel connector piece, so you can actually add these two pieces together. You'll notice if you look at the piece, the track rails sort of V together. That's because the rail spacing between the two tracks is different, or how close the cars are together to each other. There are a lot of other alternatives, a number of different brands of track made, and again, they all use the same geometry: 9-inch, 6-inch, 12-inch curves, 9-inch straights, 15-inch straights, and they all look the same, but they don't connect to each other. Lifelake was fairly current. It's a good track. I believe only 2 radius curves have been made. Marchand also made sets. Not too much availability. It's kind of hard to come by. And in the 60s, Atlas and Lionel track actually was compatible with each other. I actually have a track now made out of Lionel and Atlas. It's good track. On eBay, it's easy to find the odd size curves you want for a track, like 12-inch, 15-inch, 6-inch curves. So that's not a bad alternative. If I had to do it over again, I would have just used the current FX track. It's new. You don't run into corrosion issues and things like that. So I hope this helps people looking to get into the hobby or get back into the hobby. With track, it's a complicated topic, but it's made a little bit simpler with the new AFX to Tyco connector tracks. I got these at Pro Tinker Toys, and they're on eBay, and there's a number of other vendors. You can buy them online. So again, if you stuck it out this long, thank you very much. Please add any questions and comments you may have. Thanks.